episode number 90 from the archives.
I got X-ray specs for eyes, I can see right through you.
Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. Mike Snyderman is in Vegas right now, hopefully not at a strip club, and he's going to be playing several tournaments out there. He had a buddy of his going out, and he made a last-minute spontaneous decision, which is very characteristic of Mike. And so I gave him a call last night, and he said he was on the road to Vegas, stuck in traffic, so he's out there now. He'll be on, I think he'll be on next week. We'll see. I'm going to have Mark come on next week. And hopefully Mike will be back from that. We'll see. So I'm excited to have Mark Elliot. He's been on the show 2 or 3 times. 3 times actually. Episode 9, 27, and episode 40. And so he's coming on again. I'm excited about that. He's got a new series out on TPE with Dylan, who made the deep run in the WSOP this year. So that's exciting. I have not played a single hand of poker in an entire week, so I have no poker hands to go over. But what I am going to do, and something I've never done before, is I'm going to go to the archives here, and I'm going to pull out our most popular episode, and it is from last year, from 2015, and it is when Mike and I went over to the TPE house, and we recorded with Mark Alioto, James Gettinger, and Peter Tarsiewicz. And we're basically just, 5 guys sitting around a table talking poker. So I'm going to pull that one up from the archives. First, some little updates. I have had a hell of a week. My wife and I went out to Hawaii. We spent 3 days and 4 nights out there. We got an Airbnb and rented a car about 3 hours before our flight left. And we got in, 8 at night, drove down to the place, and then we went to the Big Island. There's 7 or 8 islands out there. Last time in November, we went to Oahu, and that was a tiny little island. This island, I found out, is the size of Connecticut, and it only has 187,000 people. So to get from one place to the next, you could be driving for 45 minutes and not even see a town, and then you come across a little town that maybe has 2,000 or 3,000 people, and then you go off to the next one. It's very spread out, but very beautiful. It's interesting to see the way the Hawaiian Islands have kind of evolved, because millions and millions of years ago, I think they started something like 70 million years ago, a volcano started, a little hot spot in the earth, started pumping out lava, and it just continued. And as the tectonic plates have moved over the surface of the earth, that hot spot has stayed in the same spot. But the earth, moving a quarter inch a year or whatever it is, has slowly moved across. And it started with the northwesternmost islands, like Oahu. And it formed that one. That's one of the older ones. And then now that hotspot is right over the Big Island, and is kind of on the southeast part of it, and is just slowly adding to the island. And then as the tectonic plates have moved up, those older islands have worn down and got washed away and gotten smaller, and there's not any active volcanoes on them. But it was really cool. We got to go see the volcano museum, and they had there was 2 active volcanoes that we got to see. One was going right out into the ocean. If you follow me on Twitter, at HeadsUpPoker.Podcast, you can see some video of the lava flows. It was really cool. We went and swam with the turtles and just had a great, relaxing time. And now we're back. I had my last shift as a fireman last night. Ran my last call as a fireman, and tomorrow I start my first shift in my new station with my new crew as a captain. So this was a long road. This was the hardest thing I've ever done, promoting to captain. It took me 9 years. It took me longer. Yeah, this was definitely the hardest thing. This was harder than becoming a pilot. This was more difficult than getting hired, and that took me 5 years. This was a huge accomplishment for me, and I'm very glad that I finally got it. This is going to put the fire back in me for going to work. I'm excited. Some upcoming stuff. We've got Mark coming on next week. I'm going to go over some of his hands that he finished first in a 215 on the winning network, and I want to pull some hands from that and go over some strategy with him. New things on Tournament Poker Edge. He's got a new series out with Dylan Tomasi, and they put out a 7 or 8 part series of his win there, going over each and every hand. So, if you are not yet a member of Tournament Poker Edge, now is the time to sign up. You can click on the link in the show notes or go to HeadsUpPoker.Poker and click on the Support Us tab. There'll be a little affiliate link there. It'll kick a little bit back to your favorite podcast, and you'll sign up for TPE. They've got videos coming out. We had KB on a few weeks ago. They got about 5 videos a week. That's about 2 more than I could possibly watch per week. I'm usually able to get in 3 per week. And I love it. I love it. They have thousands of videos. You can go through and just find the pros that you like and just watch all their videos. Andrew, he's got like 15 pages of videos now. So I would say he's well over 100. I mean, if you want to learn big blind defense, he has a whole series on that. If you want to learn continuation bets, he has a whole series on that. Whatever your weakness is or whatever you feel like you need to work on, I would almost guarantee there's a whole series on exactly that. If you want to learn how to do Hold'em Manager, Ben did a whole series on that. I mean, he goes into like color coordinating everything. It is extremely impressive. So if you're a tournament poker player and you want to get better at tournaments, Tournament Poker Edge is the place to go. If you click on the link in the show notes, it'll take you straight there. It'll kick a little bit back to your favorite podcast, and everyone wins. Elliot Rowe got a free MP3 hypnosis tape for you. You can click on the link in the show notes or go to HeadsUpPoker.Poker and click on the Support Us tab and then go down to Elliot Rowe. It'll take you straight to a 7-minute Tilt Buster download. You can put it right on your phone, which is what I do. And you listen to it before you play. Lay down, get in a quiet spot. If you're at a live MTT, go out in the parking lot, just put on your headphones, lean back in your car, and it'll affect your play, and in a good way. You feel more calm. You feel like your decisions are more, it kind of takes the emotion out of playing poker. You know, when you take a bad beat, you're able to just kind of take a breath, look down, count how many big blinds you have, and whether you had 100 to start the hand or 90 and now you're down to 15, you're in the zone. You don't get that, 15 minutes of tilt experiencing and then just dust off your stack that you would have otherwise. It really, really works. And it's free. You got nothing to lose. So check it out. And Elliot is also putting on a class this week. It's got to do with maximizing your volume. So you can. There's going to be a link in the show notes for this one. It's called "The Truth About Poker Volume," and so he's going to go into showing you why volume is vital to being successful long term in poker, and give you some steps to be able to put in more volume without burning out. Putting in more volume without adding hours, so you can be happy after your session. Going into why volume is really important to long-term success than it ever has been before. Poker's only getting tougher. And how to optimize your volume without adding any hours, how to be that high-volume player and not get burnt out and still live a happy, balanced life, where it's not everything revolving around poker. It's in that moment you're focused and you're putting in the volume to maximize the time that you're playing so that when you're done, you can clear your head and move on to other aspects of your life. So if that interests you, put it in, click on the link in the show notes and check it out. So without further ado, we're going to go to the archives here, the TPE house in 2015 with Mike, James, Peter, and Mark Elliotto. Enjoy. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
This is Mike Snyderman. Mark Elliot. We don't even have to Skype you up, man. You're here.
I know.
In person. I know, it's pretty boss.
You guys got a great house here. This is epic.
Yeah, I wish all the
backyard, everything.
Wish we had all the other TPE pros.
Casey couldn't make it this year, huh?
No, Casey. There's a chance he comes out for the main. Diego will be out here for I think 6 days, and then Derek gets here the 18th.
The 18th, yeah.
No Tim and Danny, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
life goes on.
Yeah. And your guys' meetup is on the 19th, right?
The 19th, Gold Coast, I believe, bowling and pizza, and
Okay.
yeah, be a good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be fun. And Mike, you've got a couple of tournament scores under your belt so far.
Yeah, we already talked about those, and hopefully...
bag chips on
I
the
bagged for
Millionaire
the Millionaire Maker, a little over chip average. Day 2 is tomorrow, so hopefully... Run it up. Oh no, I'm Ship at Snyderman. I can't. I'm going to give myself like 10 fucking nicknames. You ever see Rocky where Apollo's getting all the master of disaster, the king of sting? He's got like.
You can't do run it up.
Rocky's
run it
like.
up, take it.
Yeah, Rocky's like. You think you got enough nicknames? This is cool living in a house. This is I always thought the Vegas experience was just a man alone in a room, staring down 33 floors. Shuffling a couple dollar chips from the casino in his hand, wondering where things went wrong. But no, it can be a social experience with friends. It's never been that for me. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough the first year to come out with the TPE guys. Never met them. And,
really?
We met on Skype and stuff, but never in person. We came out and, get kind of nervous living with 3 people you've never met before.
Right.
But yeah, fun. You adjust, and yeah, it's a blast.
You guys are just a little bit older and probably more mature now. So there's I expected to come over and see
mature thing.
Well, I expected to come out here and see keg stands, and I see the Art of Zen sitting on the poolside table. So where's the crack pipes? These are supposed to be poker pros.
Well, that's when everyone else comes. Once all the other guys come, it'll get pretty wild. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it zen and, focus on playing poker, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised you said you didn't want to fire a second bullet in the Millionaire Maker because your chi is not right, or you didn't use that word, but it's kind of,
Basically, I just worry about my back. Last year, I only could play 7 events, and I was out here 40 days. So this year, I'm played 3 days in a row and just want to make sure the back's good. And, I mean, honestly, the 10 a.m. start is just... shit. I get up at 10, I go to the gym, and I'm ready by 12. I get my coffee, I eat, meditate, I'm good.
Yeah.
But the 10 a.m. start is just wake up, coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah, played 3 days in a row. Haven't done that well, so I was like, okay, good. Yeah. Not everyone can have.
There's nothing.
Who told you to come out here? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
No, who was it though?
It was you. Yeah.
It was on the last show I was on, correct?
No, you told me when we were Skyping once.
It was on Twitter or something, I think.
I can't remember what decided. I think I was just on such a roll online. I'm like, fuck it. I really should be in Vegas. I'm just good at this game,
Yeah.
And I always, for some reason, I had in my mind that, if you need a backer, then you're not good enough. You should be making enough money to play yourself.
That's what
I had to.
I told you though. I think that was just a block in your head.
Yeah, a lot of people are under the impression that having a backer is bad, but 95% of people that play in the World Series are all bad.
Right.
That's why you see so and so makes $1.1 million. It's well, he owed his backer $2.2 million, so he's still negative $800K, and it's
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. You're not in makeup either. You're just covered for the...
No, covered for the series.
Yeah, I like that better than
keep all the
you brick and then you gotta,
Yeah.
It depends. It wouldn't be bad to have a deal where they have all your action, but you'd have to play a lot more because they wouldn't let you just play the series. You'd have to travel and stuff. As we've talked about before, online is lovely. 8 tables, 6 tables, 5 tables when you want your pajamas. It's different, but I love it for the month that I'm out here. A month and a half I'm out here. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. What was how long did you last? You were out pretty quick yesterday, weren't you?
Yeah, yesterday, 1-200, pre-ante. Just got it in with top set versus a flush draw and an overpair. We got there.
You got there, yeah.
For piles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll take the spot. Let me run that. That's the problem with live. You got to run that spot.
Yeah, you got to take it. You can't fold it.
Yeah, maybe it's just because obviously I've done well, but once you have to go to the excitement of live, obviously bank is something different. It's just hard to go back to the online grind, but that's how you make money.
You made a freaking killer fold yesterday. You had top pair, top kicker, ace king.
Right.
3-bet pot.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of went in. This was the last hand of the night. You know, the old they shut the clock down, tell you, and then flip forward how many hands. We had 4 more hands, and the very last, the guy was the chip leader who had, I forget, 170, 80K or something.
160.
I don't know. It might have been more. Now I can't remember, but yeah.
You had 65 or 68?
I had 68K,
Okay.
and yeah. Anyways, we were actually going through how'd you make how the pizza's like. I could never make a fold or whatever. We were talking about that, and if we go through the whole history of this guy, I thought it was not an easy fold. But anyways, I 3-bet with ace king. He bet, I'm going to say 2,800, and I bet pretty big, 7,800. I was happy to just take it down. Ace king misses most
Now,
flops.
were you in position or were you?
I was on the button. He called.
Okay.
He raised from the cutoff. He was directly to my right, and he called. So whatever the hell now is, there's
15.
even more with the blinds in it, 16, 17K.
Okay.
And King Jack 8, 2 diamonds. I did not have the ace of diamonds, and I C-bet 8,100, and he shoved all in. A very Hollywood shove all in, looking over at me, rubbing his chin a few times. And then that's when you saw me jump out of my seat and yell, "What the fuck?"
Wait, how much did you have back and what was in the pot when he jammed?
When I had in the back, I had 51K. 51,600 when and at this point I had,
After you C-bet?
after I C-bet, yeah. So at this point I had 3-bet and C-bet, so I had 15.9 of my own money, so you add that on top of it. 15.9 of this, whatever, 33,000 plus whatever. So I got a call 50,000 to win 83,000. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'm going through my head.
So I don't know if he's got. I guess he could have king queen.
No, see, I'm not thinking king queen. I'm thinking more
draw.
draws. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a better man than me. I'm not sure I would have folded. And we
Queen-
talked about it
Queen
before.
10 or 2.
Queen 10.
Yeah,
I mean,
two, what was it, hearts or clubs? Or
diamonds.
Diamonds. He could have had
Because, he could raise there. With
Yeah.
king jack. Just raise.
Yeah.
re-raise 4-bet.
Yeah, no, just raise the flop. Raise your C-bet where he doesn't have to shove. It's
Right.
an overshove. So he could just raise
Well,
it.
that's true. Yeah,
So, that's what I would do with top 2. And, I would hope I would do the same thing with draws as well.
like I can tell you, he was just holding on to his chips like they were, he was like I told you, he made a really bad fold, I thought, with top
Ace
pair,
10.
top pair, top kicker, but there's 3 spades on board. And the other guy's like, well, I was ahead, but you would. This is one of those hands where everybody tells you exactly what they have for the hand, and 99% of the time, they're telling the truth.
And it was
I told you, he insta-mucked jacks after I 3-bet him someone called 4-bet, which I thought was the right fold, but considering the amount of chips the 4-better had and how strong his hand was, I thought it was. So,
So
I seriously
you've seen is on the time.
You know what probably helped me, in all seriousness? Faraz Jocko, I think I told you about this hand.
He was on your
directly on my left last night, and I saw him making the sickest. I mean, I would have just spite called. He had the flop was 10 Jack Queen, and Faraz C-bet, and this guy shoved, and Faraz was getting he had 12 big left. He was getting 2 to 1 his money. He's like, show me if I fold, and he shows me what he had, 2 aces, and he folds. The other guy had ace king.
So you had the net straight.
I'm like pros can fold those fucking big hands, I guess.
Yeah.
But it depends who you're playing against, But
Yeah.
here, most of these guys are this table. A lot of them are just face up. I mean, they're just not putting their chips in unless unless they think they have the best hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many hands though.
Faraz Jaka as just his agtard, and then he makes that good of a fold where he has an overpair and a gutter, and it's pretty impressive.
And then he battled back and then got it in good with 2 pair against just the guy who had top pair, and then the guy who had a better 2 pair, and he was gone. But
Lovely for you.
So maybe in all seriousness, that fold might have because I was like, wow. Think before you call her. It was like a novelty,
Yeah. You made another good fold too. I was standing there with my wife, and we'd just gotten there. We'd been there about 2 minutes, and I saw you raise, and then a guy 3-bet you. He was in, I think, the big blind, And then you took a little bit, and you probably took 20, 30 seconds, and then you said, you know what, I don't know what's going on, and you threw your hand in. I thought you had 2 9s, but I asked you later, and you had 2 8s.
Yeah, and the guy showed his jacks.
Yeah.
His raise was ridiculous. I raised it. And that sort of table, nitty table. What do you think about my raise size? Should just be min raise because they don't. I was 2.3x. I'm at the 2600. And he 3-bet to like 10,600 or whatever it was.
10,300.
Which was for almost half the stack.
It was 500,000 with 100 antes, and he made it 26 or 27, and then the other guy basically put in a third of the stack for 10-3.
See, online, no one's 3-betting that much. At least the regs and the decent,
Yeah.
But if somebody min raises there online,
yeah,
and I have them covered 2-1 in chips,
yeah,
you ship it and then you deal with the consequences. But here I thought it was,
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, we've talked about live how some hands become better flats than 3-bet get-ins. Like king queen when a guy's opening off 20 big blinds, or even like ace queen where on live we're just like shoved.
Yeah, I was talking to Carlos. I thought I'd solve the cure for cancer. Like I broke something new. But not that it was, no, but it was just these guys with 20 big blinds who like they kind of know the pre-flop range well enough where they open middle position with pocket 9s and you 3-bet them. And they got 20 bigs. They're gonna shove.
Yeah,
a lot of the time. But if you just flat them and all you need is one goddamn card on the flop.
Yeah.
And they're fucking terrified. You know what I mean? So, those guys, it's just C flops in position. So, Mark, what do you think here? It's a sunny day. You could be sitting in the pool, but you're doing a podcast.
I love podcasts.
Would you rather? You wouldn't? I was just going to.
No, I don't.
Okay. I was looking for a little hesitation there. I was like going to ask, would you rather have a steaming, flaming bag of shit fall on your head? Or be forced to talk poker with Steve Barton on a pool day?
No, I love talking poker anytime, as both of you know. Steve and I did a couple hours on, we reviewed one of his Bovada tournaments one time.
That was good. I'm 3-betting now with 10-8 suited, 5-7 suited, all that stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
It's taking it down 80%
yeah.
of the time. I'm just printing money. It's great. And the times that they call, if they re-raise, then I'm done.
Yep.
And if they call, then they have no idea what you have.
I remember with you was a lot. The one thing I thought that you could improve on was sizing. Remember, I was like, I thought your sizing was almost face up. Like when you didn't have it, you would bet really small, and when you had like top pair on a wet board, you were going really big.
Yeah.
Just balancing that out to like an even C-bet sizing.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, I think my 3-bet sizing, I don't know, live poker too. I mean, again, it depends on the villain. You can drop that down to like 2.2. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's
well, I mean, I guess if you think they're going to flat and give up on the flop a lot, then maybe you want to make it bigger. So if they need to see flops, but I mean, if you're just looking for folds, all they know is you've raised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not even Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. But maybe we're exaggerating the difference between how much tougher it is online and online. But you said the main event is like an $11 rebuy. I mean,
I think it's the $11 on merge. I can.
Do you really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least day 1. Day 2 was a lot tougher. The 1 year I made.
Then you're up to 33.
Yeah, then you're probably up to even a 109, 250.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I mean, obviously, the skill does come to the top in that. We saw last year's final table. There was a fucking bunch of studs on
Every year we seem to get.
So eventually, when it's deep enough, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, about the 3-betting, 3-bet sizing, like, I was actually talking to Ben the other day, and he was talking about, like, 3.5xing sometimes, and just getting the fold, like, with certain hands that just don't play well post, and guys that are really sticky post, that don't fold the C-bets. You kind of put them in a weird spot when you, like, 3.5, even up to 4x 3-bet, like, because they're calling off such, like, it's make it 100, make it 400 online. Think about that. Like, people are way less likely to call when you go bigger.
Yeah.
But, like, it's kind of exploitable if you're only doing that with, like, your ace-5s or your kings. Yeah. Just stuff that plays horn post.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure Ben's going to experiment. And that's what Jordan Christos does, too. Jason Blue. He 3-bets, like, ridiculously big. Sometimes 5x. And he gets way more folds. But I'm with you. I kind of like smaller sizing, let him call and check fold. Depending on villain, like, against super good players, maybe I don't want to do that. And if we're in or out of position. Out of position, I think like 3.5x, 4x live could actually be good just to get the fold. Yeah. In position, I would never do it. but out of position, I could see it being good, especially if you're really deep too.
Yeah.
If you're like 70 bigs deep, why not make it bigger and let these people make mistakes post or just fold and take the pot for what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, poker, man. It's crazy.
I love it. It's so much fun. I fucking love this game.
Something as small as sizing is like so important.
Steve, you're actually in Vegas and not playing poker, though.
I know.
I couldn't do that. Of course, I got no life. For you, it's a little easier.
This for me was a fun trip. We got to leave tomorrow, but we flew in. Never flown here before. Just always drove. And I've taken the little hopper flights from LAX, but never actually flown. And it was awesome.
Please tell a story where you don't stop to take a leak for once.
And, when I landed, I had to freaking go. I made a freaking beeline for the
story.
I learned, though.
Steve
I'm taking a Gatorade on the
Steve's
trip
like, I really had to 3-bet. I really had to leak too, but I made the bet sizing higher so I could,
So I could get the fold and run to the room.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah. And we're taking off tomorrow, but this has been a good family trip, and then I am ready for next week. Oh my God, I can't wait. It's going to be a whole week.
You get to play.
Yes. I'm going to just be, my plan was like every year just come out and fire on the deep stacks, but after talking with some of the guys, I'm like, maybe I should be playing the Planet Hollywood's, someone else mentioned the Wynn has a good one. I think they have like a 300 or something, so I might look into that. Or
the Wynn runs a bunch of good stuff. Alan Kessler tweeted something else, this Excel sheet that has every tournament at every casino.
Oh.
So yeah, open it through Dropbox, and it's set. Every day you can see where the tournament. Golden Nugget has good tournaments, PH.
Golden Nugget, really?
Yeah, Binions has some good ones. Carlos is Mr. Value. Carlos did this all last year. It was I think he played 5 tournaments at Binions and final tabled all 5. They're smaller fields, but so what?
Well, you know what?
Carlos is like, can I get a couple of free cocktail napkins if I enter this tournament? That's his idea of value.
Put them in his pockets.
Carlos has been horrified when I've told him how. It's not like I've been running around here like.
My
roommate.
Yes. Let's talk about your hand, man. That was a good one.
With the ace hand?
Well, tell the world your name.
Okay, tell
where you're from. Let's get a little history.
My name's Peter Tarsowitz.
There we go. Okay.
I'm from Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Right on. Have a seat, man. Have a seat.
And what do you play online? No, we need a little background.
All right.
Wait,
the listeners in.
This bum just walked off the street. How do you know he's a poker player? I think he just came in for a bologna sandwich. Anything from Steve to stop Steve from talking about his Cessna. We just needed to bring someone else in here.
Yeah, so I am I'm Mark's roommate for the summer, and I play 6 max cash online, 1, 2, 2, 4, on ACR, PP&J, and that's pretty much it.
And he's a DFS goat. This guy is Mr.
I love sports.
What's GOAT mean? Is that like a
greatest of all time?
Oh, okay. So that's not.
I'm the worst of all time.
So that's not like it's not like it's like a DJ happy ending kind of thing.
I know all about happy ending.
That's
but yeah, Pete and I never met, and
we met 3 days ago.
Yeah, and we ended up. Yeah,
you guys meet on Skype, or how did you?
We talked briefly on Skype, and we know him through James, another roommate.
Okay.
Here, and I talked to Mark briefly, and then met him. Now we're best friends.
Yeah.
But sharing that king size bed though, is that uncomfortable?
Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
there's plenty of room in between.
He's big spoon, I'm a spoon. It's all good. We have a good time.
Yeah. You wake up, your hands are all interlocked.
Yeah,
So we could be talking to the next millionaire champ here. Pete's got a nice stack going.
Well, so do you.
Well,
you're in it.
Let's point the difference, though.
You've got 43
through skill, I developed a stack, and then
what are you trying to say?
You had a sputard who just shoved 10-5 on you.
I can't hope.
We do need to hear that hand though too. So what's your stack now? Going into day 2.
Going to day 2, I got 109. 109 going to 612.
That's 612.
That's 900. That's 991 big.
We'll call it 100.
91 bigs.
Round it off.
And so tell us about this. What do you call it?
Dinner breakdown. Dinner breakdown.
It was the last hand before the dinner.
Literally
break,
the last hand. Yeah. I'm one of my hijack. And everyone's folding and leaving immediately because they want to go to dinner break.
Yeah.
And so I have ace king. And I open. We were at 250, 500, so I opened to 11. Small blind, 3 bets to 3,200. and the big blind folds. And the small blind has about like 30K. And I should probably talk about my image. I'm like a maniac.
Yeah, he's an actard.
So like he's like probably thinking, oh well, last hand before dinner break, he's probably just like trying to steal the blinds. So 3 bets.
It wasn't even that sophisticated. It's like, I don't like this pretty boy's face. I'm going to jam the chips
too.
down.
I have 60 bigs, and I'm going to take this to the...
It totally could have been that too. So I make it 11. He makes it 32. I make it 67, and he doesn't take very long and just piles it in.
The
and
dinner dump.
And then he's like, "You got me, nice hand."
10-5-0.
10-5 off.
And he had to fade the turn. King 9-9 flop, 10 turn.
10 turn. Yeah, I mean that's just
2 hours.
With a runner, it'd be pretty gross.
I mean, yeah, you could lose those hands too.
Yeah,
but
so like I
that's
come back
the
from
one-
dinner break and like pretty good shape.
I mean, I could see myself being the dinner break dumper,
Right.
but I would have a better hand than 10-5 off. It would be like at least suited.
10-9 suited or something.
You would have the you would,
suited.
you would have the blocker. Famous last words. Explaining it to your friend, dude. Ace 3 off. What do you fuck? I got a blocker. He's never got an ace there.
Or at least fold to the 4, maybe. You could do that as well.
Yeah.
So your tournaments are just this summer? Like you're pretty much you stick to cash?
Yeah, I'm pretty much sticking to cash.
God damn, I wish I could beat cash games, man. Life would be so much easier.
Not that, I mean,
These
coming
six-
in Jersey, PB&J is unbelievable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the, what is it?
Party
Poker
poker.
New
Yeah, I
Jersey.
keep saying PB&J. Yeah, people don't know.
I was like,
Right.
peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, party
Peanut butter
poker.
bananas.
We had Dusty Schmidt on, who's like, one of the best cash game guys ever.
I've heard
And
Dusty, yeah.
he even talks about like just the ACR card room.
But he said 5 out of 6 are
Maybe-
pros and
I
one's
don't know.
amateur.
Yeah, that's usually how
Or
they
at
start
least he
lineup,
says he
right?
has to play his A game to beat it. It's not,
Yeah,
it's not an
yeah.
easy,
Yeah, the edge in that game is just that one fish that sits down, pretty much.
What's your biggest live cash? Can I ask? Have you had any?
No, that's they're both the same actually. Online and live is 12K.
12K. Okay.
Nothing too impressive.
About to be a millie.
Yes.
You never know.
2.5% one time.
Do you ever?
Mark does it a piece.
I talked to him for 10 minutes when we got here. And we actually did a little coaching session with one of his students.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talked to him for like 5 minutes here, and I was like, "You saw it?" He's like, I can tell within 5 minutes if someone is good.
I got a little left. Now that you mentioned it.
Do you check for day 2 of a tournament? It's pointless. It's more to board than anything else. But when they post the names, do you hand them and look at them up? Like
I usually have because I don't know anyone in
Yeah,
the tournament world since I play cash. I was like, hey, look up this guy for me.
Right.
Like, I mean, I can do it myself. Like, oh yeah, I know.
Usually within like 3 minutes, all you gotta do is look at someone. You can kind of tell if they're decent or not. Usually,
takes me
whether
like
if someone's-
orbit or two.
if
Yeah.
someone, so
Takes an
I don't know
orbit
if it's
to-
useful or not, but I think there's one tournament I looked up and I looked ahead of time and there's this old dude who had like $2 million in cashes. I mean, he's been doing it forever.
Legends.
But if I didn't look it up, I would have thought he was like the tightest guy anywhere. But I knew he was immediately coming out and
Oh, wow.
3-betting and opening a lot of pots.
would be nothing to me.
No,
I'd be like,
no.
well, what does it even mean? Like he plays
It
a
doesn't
lot, or
mean-
I mean, it's
He
so
went
hard.
he went deep in a couple of nice tournaments, or
Yeah, that says more than like what their cashes are. Like if
right.
they
No,
won
yeah,
something.
no, that's
and
true.
what field it was and what year, because a lot of the guys is
Yeah,
like
like
5 million in cashes, and you look at
1998.
like 2001. It's like, oh,
But he's got a look of just. I mean, the typical tournament, like the Planet Hollywood, where by the time we were down to 2 tables, there's the typical. There's always like 2 or 3 old guys who are just sitting there playing,
Balling.
absolutely face up, looking to win a flip or we get some
yeah.
some good hands. So I would have thought he was one of those guys, but he did have some game.
what was the guy at the
Number one grandpa.
number one grandpa final table? The Hyper Turbo. So funny. We're watching it. Hyper Turbo. Number one grandpa. I mean, he's in his
His hat
70s,
said
80s.
number one
Maybe
grandpa.
70 or 80 years old. Folds down one big blind.
What?
Number one grandpa.
Do you know what he started the table with?
No, like James and I were just watching it. It was so funny. I mean, props to him. I mean, good for him. But like, least likely to final table a Hyper Turbo is the guy with the number one grandpa
did.
hat. Like,
He did it.
I mean, that just seems so funny to me.
He did it. GG.
What is the what was the worst fold he made? Do you remember? Like, did he have like King 9 suited on the button with 6 bigs and folded or something like that?
No, like honestly, I think
He was card
James
dead,
and I
I'm
were
sure,
watching
but
it,
yeah.
it was literally like we turned it on when he had 1 PB, and we just couldn't get over his hat. I hope I'm that guy someday. I'm at a final table of a Hyper Turbo.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
That's
it
hilarious.
was hilarious. And then there was another final table with the guy with the big cowboy hat and spurs and stuff. I'm like, poker is just amazing.
Poker's still alive.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but I was implying it. Yeah, I mean, poker is live. If you play the Colossus, you know it's live. Like, it was an amazing field. Like, people
I
10xing.
Right.
Like, getting in with twos.
People who literally can't spell poker.
Yeah.
You know, like as Helmut said, you know what I mean? Like, we're having a spelling bee afterwards.
The Colossus, although I don't agree with the payout structure, I think it should have been a little whatever. Everyone's
That was
complaining
weird.
about
That was then when he was.
He should have announced it.
But it's
Yeah.
But there is some sort of mathematical formula that tells like the size of the field, or the percentage of first, second.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if it's obviously a 100-person field in one of those $100 tournaments, first place probably gets 35% or something, you know. But
Yeah.
And the thing was, is World Series didn't announce it. I mean, everyone complained about top-heavy structures, and then they got this flatter structure for the Colossus, which is going to be better for poker. 5,000 people registered that tournament that had never played a World Series event.
Yeah, we're 5,000 new people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's massive for the game.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean,
I thought they did a
we
decent
were
job
mad,
with it
but
too.
It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
It was
I was
just
like,
so
oh, man.
peculiar to see like 100 people put stuff in Ziploc bags and then have a floor man with his arm raised, like, you know, with a bunch of Boy Scouts trying
Everyone
to
on
follow
me.
it. Yeah, and then flowing across the room. But I mean, some of the dealers are weak, of course. You got to explain.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Like one dealer was trying to take a blind at a time from each person. I'm like, no, believe me, that's going to get complicated. You got to go down the table, or you know, it's going to be.
The problem is I've talked to the dealers. They're understaffed by like 300 dealers.
I'm sure.
So they're working like 18, 19 hours. Half of
That's
them are like
insane.
half asleep during the hand.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this isn't even.
There's
like,
a 2+2 thread that said they're some of them were threatening a walkout because also they're like they took a pay cut too or something.
Oh yeah, they
Dealers
pay them
too?
nothing.
Well, because especially if you're cash game, it's a huge. You're going down from $35 an hour to $11 an hour getting paid probably or something. I don't know
I
how
think
it
it's
works.
much less than that, but
yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
How much cash game guys make for tips or
Oh,
how much
tips.
the
I was talking about what dealers make an hour. I was like,
Oh.
no way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no,
The
I
tips,
don't know.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know
tips.
the
I'm saying.
Yeah, well, because each section makes more. Like the sit and go dealers keep their own money.
Right. Okay.
So if you get to deal sit and goes and some guy wins a 1K, I mean, I think a guy got tipped $2,000 the other day. It's unlikely. But like $50-$20, and then if you're doing the tournaments, you have to chop everything up if a guy leaves a tip if he wins the tournament, you know, like, which I think
Right.
most do.
Well, they get
but-
3%
Yeah, 3%
of the
It-
prize
it-
pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they get 3%
So,
of the prize
you
pool.
know,
The house takes 7.
I don't know what that is.
I mean, it's just amazing to me that they can't, like, we have the card scandal going on with the marking. They can't get it right. Like, spend a little more money on nicer cards, more dealers. Like,
Right.
help us rake $1 a tournament and you'll break it. You'll be fine.
Keep fucking Czechoslovakians out of the country. that's my lesson.
Whoa.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, the guy's been blackballed from like 80 casinos in Europe, and they're like, "Oh, come play at the World Series."
Who is this? I haven't heard of
This is the guy in the 10K.
I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole. Go ahead, someone else explain it. But like,
Yeah, I mean, so there was this guy. He was just playing perfect against like all these heads up legends.
this is the 10K head up World
And
Series.
I don't know. I actually don't remember the names. Petit, do you know his name?
Pertiche, the spelling bee.
Right. So he was the
He was the Indian guy who's like one of the top guys on the global poker index. He's really good.
yeah. So he lost, and he like had a weird taste in his mouth. Like, man, this guy just like owned me.
Yeah.
And then like you don't want to say anything afterwards. It's like, all right.
Well, he was
yeah.
also
maybe I'm just being like a sore loser.
Yeah, I got
he was
those
also doing some funky shit with the cards, like touching
Yeah,
every
yeah,
corner
yeah.
and turning it around,
Yeah.
and then playing really small pots early. The theory is where he was marking all the
Yeah.
cards,
Ah.
and then later on, when he knew what the cards were,
Right.
then he was
playing
just
fast
then he
and
could
perfect.
amp up the aggression.
Yes.
So-
then, like the next guy played same deal.
Dryden, Connor Dryden. I think the guy that took the sickest beat ever.
Yeah, I forget the
Philly.
orders.
Aces. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy.
At some point, though, it's funny though. I was saying if we're playing against me or whatever, the people at my level, I would not notice any of this shit. But these guys,
It's like, that's just standard.
one of these guys, we're watching. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
Be like, that's the greatest guy I ever played against.
no, it would just be that the guy. It's just. I would just think it's variance. Basically, he's going. When I have it, I wish he had a hand, and kind of shit.
But and a lot of the guys that noticed it also play a lot live. Like, as I said, if you ever want to cheat me, just like pull a Sorrel Mizzy and come up to my room and play me in Chinese and like Mark the Carl. I have no clue.
Come in with rose-colored glasses.
Is that something he was accused of doing? Or?
Oh no, I mean, we don't need to get it out.
What is the biggest? What is the biggest douchebag move a poker player? I forget the specific one. That this is the one that kind of was like cringing. Remember the one guy befriended another guy who was a heads-up specialist.
Gerard from Locke.
Is this the one where he went into the guy? He's like, "Hey man, I'm coming to town. Let's hang out." And he's like, the other guy let him stay at his place, and then he inserted a Trojan in his computer. Inserted a Trojan in the guy's computer, and then went back and played heads up against this guy and took all his money.
Oh, what a dick!
And
this was at an EPT.
That is, I mean, just to look the guy in the face and I think the guy just sort of sniffed it out because one day it's like, why is the guy in my bedroom? He came back and it's like, shouldn't I understand if my bathroom is next to the bedroom? So I forget it, the specific. But that's the one where you're just like, you're using, it's one thing to mark cards, another thing to like use your personal skills to like gain someone's trust and then,
Yeah. I mean, the problem with poker is that, I'd say more than 50% of poker players probably are scum. I mean, it's probably a lot higher than that, but
I think they're excellent donators.
It can be, but like in general, like just from what I've heard, like
10-5 off, case in point.
Yeah,
he didn't seem like a scumbag, but like he definitely was a donator. I don't discriminate.
I really wanted to go to dinner with no chips.
I don't discriminate when I take chips.
A lot of the poker players I want to say, but like if you're sitting with pros, I'm like, there's not one player here who has a soul. You know what I mean? It's just like, I guess that's the optimal thing is just to give nothing away. I mean, like away from the table, I'm sure some are social, but I'm very social when you try to, start a conversation with some of them.
Yeah.
Carlos makes it very, Carlos makes it very clear. He doesn't speak to anyone at the table. He just sits there straight ahead with his sunglasses, and that's what he says he does.
I've talked to him about that too, and I actually used to be that way, but now I kind of think a little chatter is good because you can find out what someone does for a living.
Exactly.
And sure, they could lie to you, but they could be some professional. You'll figure it out.
I thought I got some good. I wasn't even trying to get information, but because I'm social, I think I say, "Can I see your hand if I fold?"
Yeah, I think
a guy who had never spoken a word to these people probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I got to see. I can't remember which ones. The King Jack. I don't even know if we mentioned. I folded the Ace King, and the guy showed he had King Jack. He had top two pair.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what my equity is there at 18% or something. Yeah, it was a big underdog.
And I think early that's talking is great, but later on it could be like when you get with
you have to be careful.
18 sickos, 18-handed, that's when I would probably put a zipper over my head,
yeah, scarf,
over everything, and
scarf,
just not
glasses.
say a word. Yeah. Scarf. Tell them about your scarf, Mike.
Oh, scarf?
Do we have a picture of that?
I don't know if
I want that to be his new profile pic.
I don't know if I like your tone there, short dog.
Short dog. Wow, big dog, short dog. I like that.
I was legitimately freezing in there. Actually, the first time I wore a scarf was at
it is cold in there.
I had a cold at the Borgata, and I was one of the chip leaders, like a $5 event, so they had a picture of me with the scarf. And then the next day,
they think you're Euro.
And then the next
Euro pants.
But the next day, I came back with a scarf. And I could hear from the next table somebody say, "Watch out for Scarf Guy. He blocks a lot."
Scarf Dog.
Yeah, Scarf Dog. So, I am a little bit of a dandy. I do like to play, there's certain shit. I do have my, the pink hat I would not wear. My roses hat. And,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I do have, like I said, it's funny how we're talking about how some of these guys are, weird get-ups and hats, and they're just, cowboy. A lot of them are there for the attention if they go deep. But I do have my $300, Bugatti, whatever it is.
Yeah.
For this is my final table shirt, which is
everybody has their final table.
which is hanging in my car, and I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be a poor man's John Stamos at the final table, the millionaire maker. So I understand those who are there for the theatricality of it or whatever you want to say.
That's awesome.
So Pete, how are you? What are you doing for the next 16 hours here? You don't have a just get a night's sleep and chill out.
Yeah.
You're not one of those guys who has I have a plan. You know, no, you
I'm
understand.
just,
you just react to
like
the table.
yeah, I don't have a plan. I mean, I'm going to be a maniac, first and foremost. And then, unless I get played back a ton, then I'll probably adjust. But
GTL in the morning.
I mean,
always GTL. Definitely gym tan laundry tomorrow. Like going to the gym, like right off the bat, is like when I'm with Don, Derek, and Danny. Like gym is just not. I mean, and I'm just as bad as them. I mean, so like that's.
I don't want to quote myself, but I made the same joke last night. I said, well, what is there? There's a cocktail lounge, JIM? Like, I couldn't really see you at a gym.
Dude, I feel so good, like, after the gym. I can't describe it. Like, it feels so good. Like,
we don't even go that
way
long.
clear,
like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, like today we walked in for, like, because we were kind of hungover. He was really hungover.
I was so hungover from last night. Holy shit. I went for a run this morning with the dog, and I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Whatever. I old, a couple back surgeries. There's not the gym, but I like a nice 30-minute walk before a tournament, which is still like outside to get the sun. Like there's nothing beautiful within walking distance of Rio. But like if you go to the back of the parking lot, there's this one concrete sidewalk that's about 600 feet long, and I was listening to my classical music just going back and forth for like 30 minutes, and I'm like. I'm getting sun, and I don't know.
It's important to have that routine that you do every single time before a tournament, before you start it, like a system reset. You know,
That's why waking up and coffee tournament, it's horrible.
Great.
Yeah.
You don't think it's riding a bicycle kind of at this point though? Where once you sit in a tournament, especially if it's day 2 and there's much, aren't you going to play?
I think in Vegas, I don't know. I think playing 14-hour days, and I think it's important to have routine and go in mentally prepared.
You look at all the professional sports guys, they have a routine before every single match.
And half of them have mental coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big. It's an advantage that if people aren't poker players,
it gives you an edge.
Straight.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel great. The best I've felt ever coming into this. I took not 3 months off, but I wasn't playing much. Meditated a lot. Worked out every day. All right, 3-4 days a week.
I gotta say,
I haven't lost a pound.
I was gonna say your mental coach is a little more on target than your personal trainer.
No, I do it on my own, and I just do my therapy for my back, and I'm able to sit. And last year I wasn't, so fuck it.
You do 2 push-ups. You do 2 push-ups.
Fuck you, Mike.
You do 2 push-ups, and you go to the bathroom and smile, and you're like, "Nice job."
I know I can't do push-ups. I can't do any fucking weights or whatever. What's a push-up?
What are we even talking about here?
Yeah. That's a popsicle, right? The push-up popsicle?
No, it's like an otter pop. It has a stick in it.
But yeah, preparation is key.
Well, especially if you're out here for the whole summer, which you are, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially towards the end, if you're running bad, you break 15 tournaments, it's easy to want to, like you said, weights on and jump in the pool.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and that's why, today I didn't play the Millie Maker. Just taking days off, enjoying, pool, groceries,
Yeah. I need to stop eating out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a big
it's tough out here. It's a grind.
Yeah, it looks pretty tough looking around at your house.
But the live
staring at the pool out back.
Well, it's not the Taj Mahal, but it's for me in my basement apartment, I'm like, what, fucking a couch and a love seat? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I was saying,
nice.
I'm going to try not to spend too much more money. Carlos is funny. I started telling the story that Pete came in about how horrified Carlos is. I bought him 3 dinners, and he's like, yeah, I'll take it, man. But he's like, all he's having is like a burger and a milkshake or something. I'm like, dude, it's I know it's a $17 burger, but I can. But I told him I did the $90 laundry.
Yes,
he was just appalled. And last night,
I was too. I mean,
I'm fucking unbelievable.
And what are you doing right now at the house?
You've saved me $90.
And now, how big was your bag for the laundry? How can we get it?
Well, they broke it down. It was $2.50 for each pair of socks. I had 8 pairs of socks. $2. The valet. You leave the bag in your room. They come up and pick it up. Then they bring it back, all nice in a box. It's just beautiful.
You can justify it however you want, dude. It's still $2.50 for.
But it was.
You could have done it in your sink.
It was 40.
I would have done. I would have been one.
It was $40 for just the socks and the underwear. And then I had like 6 T-shirts,
How
which
many
was
socks do you have in underwear?
well, I've been here already.
You're only here for like what? 10
He lives
days,
at
right?
I'm here for
now.
3
He's
weeks.
moving into
Yeah, but
the
he
rehab.
changes his
I've
underwear
already been
every
here.
break,
I've already
so
been here
that's-
for 15, 16 days.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, they
Bad idea.
yeah, like 6 or 7 T-shirts, which were like $6 a pop. So what are we up to? $76. Then like 3 sweatshirts, which I think were $8.50 a pop. So now we're actually over $100. And then a pair of jeans, which was like $10 or $12. So you're probably like $120 for a 2/3.
Yeah, and
back one.
we're only charging you $40 to use our machine.
Yeah.
What?
You're getting a steal.
All right, you brought ice.
I was going to say, I brought ice cream bars just to like.
You're safe.
No.
Yeah.
You're safe.
So I told Mike on Twitter when he won the Venetian, I said, drinks on you the first night we go out. So we go and I invite everyone I know, which isn't many people, and I go like, come, my buddy's buying drinks, and we order, and I'm like, you know, we got those the big mugs, and I'm like, this is gonna be like $150. I can't wait to see Mike's face. And this is last night at PT's, and the bartender goes, $28. And I'm like, motherfucker! How did he get away with this? Because it was happy hour or something. So yeah, I tried to stick.
I realized that I stiffed him with a tip there when it was so low, but then I got like a amaretto was like $2. I'm like, give him a 20. Keeps a change.
$12 on 28. I mean, that's a pretty good tip.
Yeah.
But I know, but like that was like $100 in booze.
Oh, yeah.
So he hooked us up major.
Yeah, he did.
So the pizza I tipped him another 20. So he made like $60 in tips off me altogether. So I think it's
He had a good
fair.
night. He had a good night. Yeah. That was a fun place. I was so fucking hammered.
I took it easy last night.
I told my wife, I'm like, honey, do you mind
You know,
driving? Oh, no. All right, cool.
Steve, you're babble when you're sober, and when you're hammered, it's like it's hard to, you seem sober to me last night. You're right. Yeah, nothing really made a lot of sense, but I'm like, it's just Steve. And then you're like, I was hungover this morning. Wow, you were drinking? It's just, yeah.
I'm professional. Do you like the magic tricks? Were they good?
Oh, I was envious, man.
Was it good? You liked it?
Like my only move with women is to pull out 100.
What about those girls at the bar? Let's hear that
I
story.
play poker.
I want to hear the story about the 2 girls at the bar.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I showed up, and weren't they immediately all on me?
I mean, I was across the bar, and the blonde looked pretty smoky.
Oh, she was fucking like she was a 9.5.
She turned on a dime, though. All of a sudden, she
was
like,
all over me. Then I get what do you want? Do a shot? Like I'm like, how's the pizza? Fine. I don't know if they expected me to fight through and charm them, with that, but I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, it was like you two were getting along great, and then all of a sudden,
I'll go over
the
and watch-
bipolar switch happened, and
I'll go watch fucking Steve's card tricks.
Hey, they were good, man.
cheaper than a hooker.
Which she may have been, we decided. Like, maybe 35% chance?
Yeah, but usually they
would've rejected
that
that.
is the you can tell who the pros are because they would just absolutely lock eyes with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like they,
Oh, I thought that just meant good looking when they were doing it to me. The girl in the mini skirt was eyeballing me from afar. I'm like, yeah.
And,
that makes sense.
and there's no
Jeff,
Easter
you're
bunny
on.
either. I'm sorry to tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck to you guys.
Yes,
Win the
yes. You wanna come
monster.
in?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
How long we? I don't want to talk to a guy who's got 80% online ROI. I was envious of that. I thought I was the superstar on that.
All right, tell everyone your name.
Whoa.
James.
How's it going?
No. You can,
I'll give you
How's it going? I'm James Gettinger. I play under a few screen names, mostly on U.S. sites. I'm bringing Sexy Bot, Fold Boss, Kissed a Girl Once on WPN.
Kissed a girl once. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, only one time, never again.
I always want anybody here watch Family Guy, where Stewie checks in a hotel and he's like, "What is your name, sir?" Archibald Meat Pants. So I can't. I wonder if that screen name is taken yet. But
Oh, that's a good one. Right on.
So are you talking about poker or are you talking about drinks and women?
Well, we kind of segue and have a bunch of tangents. Yes.
What'd you play today? Are you still in?
Yeah, I played the Aria 500 fourth flight and I busted, unfortunately, level 9. Where I was the victim of an extreme nit roll.
Yes, we want to hear.
Where so there was a guy at my table, probably early 30s, who was talking a ton. He had announced earlier in the MTT that he was the best hand reader in the world
Of all time.
Of all time. He said that
he was serious.
He was serious. He was serious.
Oh, Jesus.
Based on the way he played this hand, though, the hand reading potential, I don't know if it was really there. He was like 10xing it pre. But he was V-pipping probably like 40% and then open raising like 5% or something like that.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, truly unsophisticated. And then when he had a strong hand, he would like bomb it. So someone would make it like 300, he'd make it like 5K. And just like splash, just like taking mound off his chip pile, like spewing it on the table, splash. So there was a very old man who limped a short stack in early position, and then this guy overlimped, and he had this 30-year-old man that I was just describing had previously overlimped with kings and queens before, and ace, queen, ace, king, and he almost always had a very strong hand somehow when he was limping. So it goes limp, call, call. I have about 20 bigs with ace 9 suited, and I had been reshoving quite a bit at this point, and I got a little bit spooked, to be honest, because of the old man limping a short stack and this guy limping. I thought, like, I didn't have much fold equity pre, unfortunately. So there's about 7K in the middle, and I have, it checks through, and we're like 5 way to the flop. 7K in the middle, I have like 13K back. Flop is queen, 6, 3, 2-tone. I flop the ace high flush draw with my ace 9 suited. Old man under the gun bets 2K into 7. The man that I've been describing makes it 4K, and it folds around to me.
Like it.
Yeah, where I have 13K. And after a little deliberation, I came to the conclusion that I had some fold equity, and I was getting almost the pure odds that I needed, just based on, like, if I put in my 13 and get a call.
Still with 20 bigs.
Like, I don't really need much fold equity there, but I think that maybe, like, 10 to 20% of the time it folds through. So I shove, old man folds, and this 30-year-old just goes into the tank for like 3 or 4 minutes. And this is like a 30-minute level tournament. Like, this is like a fast tournament. And there's a guy I've been talking to my right is getting like pretty heated, who seems like a sophisticated player based on the way he's playing. He's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you're getting like 4 to 1 or like whatever he's getting.
What's
like
the
3
decision?
to 1. What's the decision? And he's talking through, he's like looking at me, looking back, looking at me, like, oh, what's the chance that he flopped better than me? I thought that it was possible when I shoved that he would have like pocket jacks or pocket queens too when he elects to take this line. So I wouldn't have been that surprised if he folded or called with that hand. And then they call the clock on him, and in the countdown he calls and he tables king queen for top pair king kicker, and somehow
Getting two for one on his money or whatever the hell it is.
More. He's calling like 4, so he's calling like 8 to win 30 or something like that. So
that's almost 4 to 1.
He's getting some extreme odds there. And even if I, like, the sort of thing that even if I show up like 3-6 for the bottom 2, like, he needs to call, you know?
He's still getting very impressed.
Yeah. And he's like talking it out as if he's going to make some hero fold.
So this was an earnest tank, he was thinking.
It was an earnest tank. He wasn't needling me for sure. Like, I don't think someone just tanks for 4 minutes. Like,
Right, well, I don't know. I don't know if he wanted to tank just to show he was the best hand reader in the world.
well, that might have been
Right afterwards, right before he called, they said, I think you're on a draw.
Yeah.
Did he say something like
he's
that?
Like, well, at first I thought he was on a draw, but like, now I think he might have 3-6. And then somehow it's really unfortunate that I didn't man up and hit my flush, just because right before this hand I had told the gentleman sitting to my right that I flip coached and that I want 55% of all the flips I take. So
You would have had 50 big blinds. If
I
you
know
win that.
I would
So it
have been looking pretty.
Yeah, you got to win those hands.
Pretty good.
You could have hit an ace.
Is there ever? I've like online. I've been doing this sometimes because a lot of times if you like check jam and it looks exactly like what it is, like a draw. But let's say, well, this time he had a queen, so unless he's a total idiot, it's going to go in. But let's say he had 10s though, and you let it out into a 4-way pot for 6K. I think maybe he's folding. But if you check and he bets a certain amount and then you jam, he's kind of priced into call because there's a draw out there.
I think
you played the hand right. I'm just to discuss it. You know what I mean?
The lead is fair there.
But you got full equity to a C-bet, obviously. That's what you're thinking.
I think we do. I think it's almost always going to be C-bet, which is sort of important. And I think that the gentle, like any one of these players in the hand is going to be C-betting like a middle pair that they might be planning to fold, for sure. So I think we can just get a little bit more money in the middle, and ensure that we get it in, because it's sort of a disaster if we get flatted and then don't really have many options on the turn, because I could see a lot of future game states when I'm leading where just like we have no fold equity now and we just have like an incredibly marginal hand on the turn, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but because then we just go to the next hand with 15 bigs or what have you.
Right.
But I think the check raise is just going to make us a little bit more.
Right. I guess if this guy is tank calling queen king, then he's folding tens. He's folding nines and tens. So then, So
he's folding
you're
nines,
getting more.
Probably.
You're more getting.
Jacks,
Probably.
you know?
So you're just getting more
If he's
more chips in the
raising those,
pot.
which I think it's possible, especially because he didn't do the splash that I was describing previously when he is super strong. Like, if he was nutted, I expect him to make it like just pick up half of his stack. So theoretically, maybe not the most interesting hand, but
Yeah, no, that was good.
just a funny outcome.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the summer? You're
How long are you here for?
out here for the whole summer, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm here till July 11th. Playing probably 15 events and the main as well.
Are you
So
playing
we'll
main?
see.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm yet to have any good live results, so it might be about time.
Right.
You're due.
I played a package last year and I bricked all but one, which I'm in cash. So it was a little bit of a bummer.
Of course, it doesn't. These bad streaks can go on for long. But I had bricked like 19 or 20 straight tournaments before I came
That's
here.
just
So
like-
I told myself that I was due. But I'm sure that ain't a record. We're bricking 20 straight. I'm sure people have gone longer than that.
That's like a light Sunday online.
We were talking about Mark with that last night, and he's like, he was telling my brother, he's like, I play as many tournaments in the whole summer here that I play one Sunday.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
exactly.
And he's like, it's so sick to even
That's
think
exactly
that way, you know?
it. And unfortunately, as online professional players, there's this whole other skill set in live poker which we haven't developed that well. So it would be extremely arrogant to think just because I have a 70% ROI or whatever it is online that I'm going to come and be immediately successful live.
right.
Based on the lack of technical skill from a lot of the field, it's reasonable to think you'll have a positive ROI, but to sort of crush the games like you are online is not really reasonable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work, and for me personally, being the best live player isn't one of my priorities, so I haven't put in that type of work, but I'm out here to make all the money in the desert at the same time. So
So what have you when you do the play the Monday morning quarterback for some of the tournaments you play? I mean, I don't know. Do you look? I'm sure there's hands online. You're like, you break down. No, I didn't do that right. Do any of your live stuff hands? You're like, wait a second, this is different. This is live poker. This person is not even thinking GTO. You know what I mean? What adjustments do you think you can make to be better live? I mean, is there anything you think you're doing better online than live via the competition?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. The main difference is live. Some people have just extremely tight ranges that you don't really run into online. It's a very special villain online who is only opening 5% of hands, but that's kind of a common villain type live, where you might have several of those guys even in a 1500 WSOP. The guy at the hyper final table with the number one grandpa hat who folded down to one big.
Mark was talking about it.
And if he's shoving 6 or 7 bigs, I'm just not accustomed to, I mean, it's a technical question, but I'm just not really accustomed to studying those ranges. You know what I mean? Because you really never run into them online. So a lot of even what you think are snap calls might not be, and the same applies for snap reshoves online and things like that against a lot of these opponents, where you'll have, just based on stereotypes, someone sit down and they do something the very first hand against you. It's really tough to know what to do, and online it can be a lot more clear cut. I call them, I suppose, very elastic decisions. Your decisions are very elastic to certain tendencies that your opponent has live, but it's either I'm picturing ICMizer where like the entire board turns green or the entire board turns red based on like what you elect to make of this assumption about like what your opponent's opening, and you just don't have a lot of information. So it can be tricky for sure.
I had a call last night, which I thought was pretty much a standard call, but everyone on the table was like, "What the hell are you thinking?" Where, although he was a younger guy, first of all, and he hadn't been down, but he was really short. He had 9 big blinds on the button, and I don't know what they tell you, what percentage you should 9 big blinds. You have to look at. You should be shoving from the button. It's probably at least 40%, right?
What?
9 big blinds. You've got 9.
Depending on the opponent, but yeah.
I've got 60 big blinds. The small blind has heaps.
Yeah,
but we're not.
I'd be shoving quite wide. I'd look down at probably like Jack 7 suited. I'm shoving like possibly even wider than that, depending on my read on my opponent.
Well, he shoves, and I look at King 3 and immediately call.
King 3.
King 3 off.
Okay.
Maybe it's marginal in my mind. From his position, I guess I'm just playing against myself there, and I'm shoving so wide. I'm shoving 8-6 suited.
I think the King 3 is a pretty ambitious call.
Okay, well, I don't know. I thought it was King High. I mean, against the online regs, I'm snap calling there.
Yeah, it's just a quick.
Against most opponents, I'm looking down at like King 9 suited, and I'm not sure if I'm calling.
Really? 9 big blinds, even though you got
Especially
maybe it was a bad call. Everyone was looking at me, and I was like,
Wait, so
I
mean, he was on the button.
I was in the big blind.
You were in the big blind. Okay.
So
small blind folded.
Small blind folded, and he shoved. He had 9 big blinds.
I would call with King High.
Just any king?
Any king, yeah.
I don't think you're going to win a ton of chips in the long run doing
Really?
that, but
I don't
it's
know.
possible.
That's too loose.
I think it's a little bit too
If
loose.
we-
You were suited, right?
I think I might have been suited. Now I think it was King 3 of spades, but I could be wrong.
You call with any ace, though, right?
I will be calling with any ace. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I call with any ace.
I would. I'm not certain, but if we go through the shove,
I mean, if
we go through the whole shove fold of what you're supposed to be shoving there,
If
you
he's
say-
in
if
any
he's
two-
shoving Jack 7 suited, he's also shoving 10-9 off.
Well, I'm thinking.
right?
I was trying to think 10-9 off.
We'd have to look through if we get through
probably.
the average.
Probably.
I think it's a plus EV call. I think so. In an online thing, it was a young guy against a lot of guys there. Would not a call, but anyways,
Okay.
he had ace 10 suited. He had a huge hand.
I mean,
and I flopped two pair. So you know what I mean. But everyone was
that's a
like
good
looking
spot
at me
to
like
man up. If you're calling King 3 suited, are you calling Jack 8 suited?
Sit down.
Jack
9 suited, Jack 8 suited?
Jack 9 suited for sure, yeah. Jack 8. I don't know if I call Jack 8.
I just think that like your assumptions about your opponent's shove range need to be like
he was a young kid. He was like 23
young
years old,
kid,
and I
but,
think he's shoving. I think he's shoving. If we'd have to break it down if we want to. I pretty strongly feel that's a plus EV call there. I don't know if you want to break in.
Let's hear it. I don't know.
9 big blind or 9.5 big blind shove from the button. We're in the big blind with King 3 suited.
With 60 bigs.
I mean, like, what do we? I mean, I probably call
With King 3 up?
Kid 3 suited.
I think it's suited.
I think it was King
for debate.
My theory is, but I'm arguing that he's shoving like 8-6 off, like really
If
wide.
he's shoving 8-6 up, that's like he's shoving 80 to 90%, which that's a slightly different story.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the shove charts again, but I think you're supposed to shove 8-6 off, but not shove Jack Deuce in his possession. You know what I'm saying? Like anything
I think
connected.
in that spot it's like 6-8 suited, maybe 10-8
I
off.
don't know.
Well, it depends on.
It was a young kid, like I said. He was the only one on the table who I would have called that shove with 9
I
bigs.
mean,
I just
there are-
assumed he was like an internet kid.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm playing against myself at that point. I'm
kinda
shoving.
He ran into the top of his range, so it's kind of hard to tell, you know?
Well, yeah, you can't range him
He had
after.
ace-
You can't
ace
range
10?
him. Yeah,
Ace 10
after.
off
Yeah,
or
he,
ace
no,
10?
he has ace 10 of clubs. He was ace 10 suited.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
and I
it's the top.
everyone was looking at the table like I was a nutbag, and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
that's great. I mean, because I still call. I think pretty sure.
we'd have to break it down.
He toss really.
toss.
I think it's split
Yeah, for sure.
I might have even. I guess 60 big. Yeah, I think probably. I might have been 80 bigs. I really thought it was his range. It wasn't like, oh, this is only 10% of my stack. Shit, it wasn't. That didn't go into my thinking.
Yeah, I'd go any ace, any king, probably queen down to queen 8, maybe?
Queen and off.
Queen 8 off, yeah. Queen
I mean,
6
so-
suited.
Queen and off calls.
We're talking about
Close.
Queen 6 suited.
This is one of those things where if it was online, if we wanted, if there's two guys who are following the shove fold charts, there's a mathematical.
Yeah.
We do have an answer for this.
Yeah.
Even still, if you're like concerned about being exploited, I think it's fair to make calls like these. But I mean, I just think I could use 9.5 or 10 big blinds in a lot more beneficial spots, including like 3-bet folding or stealing, where I'm not really going to try to take like a really thin showdown like this, even if it is slightly plus EV. And again, this is a pretty elastic decision because like if he is shoving 20%, 30%, we're just getting crushed.
He hadn't been there long. If he had been there for a while watching me, I was really defending. You know, I was defending my big blind a lot, especially against a small blind. I'm just not giving it up unless they 3.5 exit or something.
I mean,
so if he was there for long watching that, then I got to put him on a stronger
if
range.
it's a sit and go and we played like 20,000 hands against him, it's a different story. But I mean, I'm not that worried about being exploited here unless he is really shoving like every button, which I think we'll figure out eventually.
Right.
But also, it's pretty likely we wake up in the top 25% and make a much higher expectation call at some point while we're figuring it out as well. So
what king do you call that? Like king 6?
Well, I said previously like king 9 suited.
That's
like it's
king
great.
5. King 9 suited is a fist pump call.
So
I think like king 5 suited
Well, then-
even is easy, but I mean you know
I call it
king 3 is
I'm like king 6. I mean, I still call it king 3. So I mean,
Everyone listening can try to exploit me then. And
they suck. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I call him king there.
I was whatever. I guess I was not unhappy with my call. I was very happy with the results, obviously, because I flopped 2 pair. Yeah, yeah. I think he was even drawing down on the turn. He didn't pick up anything.
Yeah.
James, it's kind of interesting. You're playing the main event, but you're also skipping some WSOP events to play like cheaper buy-ins at the RA and stuff, just because they're higher EV, you think, and bigger stack. You can play bigger stacks and kind of.
yeah, the Venetian tournaments you start much deeper than, and the Aria as well, but the Aria WPT, which I played today, is kind of a quick structure.
Right.
Where you start out quite deep, but you'll find yourself short pretty quickly if you're not playing a lot of hands. As I said, it was like a 30-minute level tournament, so things progressed pretty quickly. I think there just are a lot of better value spots out here than the WSOP, where you have like a lot of the legendary regs who are playing all of the bracelet events,
Right.
especially on a day like today where everyone's playing the Millionaire Maker. You could go to the Aria, and there were literally 150 runners, and like very few of them were sophisticated players. There were some pros who were busting the Millionaire Maker and coming out, so that I did notice that the field was getting like a little bit tougher over time, which is also something you should expect. But I think the ROI is bigger, and I'm only playing a few outside of the WSOP. I'm playing a few Venetians, a few Arias.
Is the Aria the one that has like 16 starting days or something?
Exactly.
You could actually burn through a bankroll a little bit doing that. You could burn through 8K trying to, one of those things where you would need the final table to.
I was planning on firing again if I busted early. But
What's the buy-in at the Aria?
It's a 500.
Okay.
And maybe like a 565 or something.
Okay.
I was planning on re-entering if I busted before level 8, but I busted level 9. So I think I'll be coming back for another starting day for sure.
Which one do you know that I'm looking like? I'll be here a week, and I'm looking anywhere from 200 to 400 buy-in. The Planet Hollywood.
Maybe the daily deep stack at the Rio is
Yeah, that was my plan to play that, but then other guys started mentioning like fields that are a little bit bigger buy-in, but a lot smaller fields, and I'm like, man, they cut down on variance. So.
Yeah, I mean the daily deep stack is a pretty withering tournament for sure.
I got 15th in 1,500 people last year, and I went from 3 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon until 7. It was freaking
I
brutal.
just can't.
My theory on the tournaments, though, is like you really have this to reach the top 10% of a tournament. If I want to give myself the credit for saying I have a 20% chance, it's the same in a 100-person field as in a 2,000-person field. Of making the money, anyways. You know what I'm saying? But then
it's long, man.
Then it's
60
a
hours.
long way to the.
It's brutal. Yeah, it's long. Yeah, I specifically take a 5-minute break every hour. Just to kind of, I just walk away. I don't care how many blinds I have. I just clear my head, and then when I come back, because you're going for so long, like 2/3 of a day.
Well,
I would never walk away from the table and miss hands personally, but yeah.
Really, you would never do that?
No,
I do
I mean,
every hour.
even if
every
I'm
55 minutes,
if I'm tilted, I'll walk around the table and curse like a bloody, a bloody sailor, but then
Well,
jump back on. I don't
pick my
understand.
time too. Like I wait until I'm like in position, and then I know when I come back, just ready to take the big blind. So I don't walk away with like a button or anything. But if my mind ain't right in a hand, I'll walk away no matter where it is.
The thing about the deep stack in particular is it's a very short tournament very quickly, where you spend like of that. So how long were you playing? You were playing like 17 hours.
Something
to
like that. Yeah.
You're probably grinding like a 10 big blind stack for like the majority of that.
By hour like
12.
Yeah,
The last 5 hours, or the average stack
you're
is
15 probably.
the average stack is under 15.
And when
minutes.
you're playing a structure like that, since like as sophisticated poker players, hopefully most of our edge comes at the final table, and when we already know that we're going to be extremely short at the final table, it sort of just limits our ROI in the event. Versus other structures. And unfortunately, it's like a $200 buy-in, and we're spending like 20 hours to realize our equity. With a decreased ROI because of the structure, it just makes me think that the hourly playing the tournament is probably quite a bit lower than other spots, which is why I would personally stay away from it.
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting point.
Even though it is appealing because you could play it every day. It's a $200 tournament instead of these one.
You're probably making $40 an hour online. I don't know. I don't even have to say exactly what you're making,
I
but
don't like to talk about money.
no, I don't think so. Yeah, so even if you're getting 100% ROI in the deep stacks,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
you're making
average,
$15 an hour. Yeah,
something like that. On average, you're probably in there like 7, 8, 9 hours or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a little.
That's probably accurate.
But this is the only place where in the tournament in the year anywhere where you can buy in for $235 in a one day tournament.
That's true.
So on that level, because that's all I care about. I want to be in a tournament where I can at least 25K up top. You know what I mean?
You were talking about drinks and ladies earlier. I think this would be a prime candidate to just get pretty drunk while you're playing and maybe like wake up 15 hours in hungover for the final table.
Yeah, you can play shove fold ranges drunk for sure. That's as long as you can read the cards.
You can play whatever makes you happiest drunk. To be honest with you, if you're sort of approaching it like that.
For the first time ever, the last few.
Someone was saying the win tournaments. They have like $300 ones.
Yeah, they have some pretty good dailies, and every once in a while, I don't know if they're actually explicitly dailies, but almost every day they have a fairly good guarantee tournament. Okay. And I think they have some. I forget exactly what it is. If it's like a 300K or they have some millions or 300K somewhere in there. Okay. But I think either one or two of the wins in my schedule as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The tournament I won, I think might have had the best $600 entry, $551 went to the prize pool.
Wow, is that, wait, what?
They actually listed, $551 to the prize pool, $49 rake. It's a live tournament with under 10% rake.
Yeah, that's like 9 or
I don't even know if I've ever seen that before.
Is that 8%?
So the Venetian, I don't know if all the Venetians are like that, but they actually broke it down that way. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's nice, and then you consider that rake is going to lobby against internet poker.
Well,
sir, you sort of treble that rake and what it's actually costing you, so the 8% becomes like 20%. Back to normal.
Mental note: this is the last time we have an intelligent, ethical person on this program. I want fucking degens who want to talk about poker and whiskey,
gambling, and sports betting.
But you're not. You're playing the Venetians too. You're not. Or are you boycotting? You're not.
No,
boycotting.
I'm not boycotting, and I'm actually kind of interested to understand what Sheldon Adelson's angle is for his strategy. Just because sort of fighting online poker. In the long run, it's very clear that it doesn't make sense. Like, online gambling is going to happen. It's going to come back to the U.S. in some capacity. He's spending all of this money to try to fight the inevitable, which sort of seems to me a lot like railroads trying to fight against airlines or something like that. Like, we know how it's going to play out in the future 5 or 10 years from now. It just seems so straightforward to me.
Yeah. I would think he would embrace it and just open up his own online business. Like, why is he spending all this money?
He is a billionaire. He is a billionaire. He probably knows. I mean, I'm against what he's doing, but I'm just saying everyone's like, well, it's stupid. He should
definitely
has a
sophisticated opinion. It's just really curious to hear what.
I'm sure somewhere there's out there where if where poker was online. Well, I mean, Atlantic City was going to go to hell anyways because there was casinos in Philadelphia and Connecticut. I mean, if you can't get everybody from New York City going down to just to Atlantic City, then you're screwed there. Yeah. So that had nothing to do with online poker, I don't think. But yeah, hopefully it comes back. Obviously, do you travel at all for scoop events and go to Mexico and Canada to play at all? Or
I'm considering after this stay in the desert, moving to Barcelona.
Really?
For 6 months. So
Have you been
there? I have not been.
I went, but I only spent 4 days. It was a beautiful city.
I've been checking out Airbnbs, and it seems like a pretty good place for a variety of reasons. A pretty romantic place, I think.
Very. Are you single? Or?
I have a great love interest who I'm trying to talk into bringing with me.
Okay.
Or coming with me.
Cool.
So we'll see.
It's a beautiful city.
But Barcelona is just kind of arbitrary. I mean, you're like, which beautiful European city would be the most?
It's like a romantic thing. I prefer that to like what makes the most sense in terms of tax advantage and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
The culture and food, I think, is pretty important to me.
You've already looked up. What's the living cost? You already know the B&B cost.
Very
I think
similar.
Spain is one of the cheaper countries, unless you're talking Eastern Europe, right?
I was just living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, so pretty much anywhere I moved is going to have a lower cost of living.
Right. Okay.
Very true.
And I moved out of my apartment and literally put my stuff in storage and went to the airport. So
okay.
Cool.
I'm homeless at the moment, except I have a lease in Vegas.
So
okay.
Congratulations, dude. That's exciting.
That's pretty damn good.
That's exciting.
Your woman's not a poker player by any chance.
She's not, and I keep trying to get her to play the ladies event, but she's not interested. I tried to. She had never played poker, didn't know the rules. She came with me to Panama for the Latin poker series, which I was fortunate enough to win a ticket to on WPN, America's Card Room.
Okay.
And she went down with me, which was a lot of fun. And one night we were playing cards and getting drinks, and I was trying to teach it to her, and she was just like, James, you really sucked the fun out of this. Like, just the way I was going about teaching her was not the optimal way. Because it's like, okay, before we even start, like, let's start talking about the math. Like, pretty much. Let's talk about the combos. Like, how many combinations of hands do we have? Does your opponent have?
I did the same thing with my wife. Did not work at all.
Yeah.
She's not into it.
Yeah,
and
quickly.
I think she would be under the right circumstances. And I think that's true for almost everyone. I don't think there's really a reason or a good reason why there are so many fewer ladies. Besides the society reasons, obviously, that it's like intimidating and it's like a hostile environment a lot of the time, unfortunately. But I don't really think there's a good reason if it's framed the right way or introduced the right way in like a less hostile environment that women would play more poker.
So Steve should stop saying at the table, like, "Hey, sugar tits,
Exactly.
don't make me call the clock on you."
Steve, and that's actually, I think that we should all be rooting for a lady winner of the main event because I think that could really be the next poker boom.
That could be the next money maker.
Yeah, because of the Colossus, I think it was something like 95% of the field was male of the 25,000 entrants.
Yeah, that's interesting. We were talking with my wife last night, and she's like, "Oh, look, there's a woman." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, there's a woman there and there and there." And
I will politely disagree that there's difference between men and women that make women, I think, more sensible.
Where are we going here?
A lot of these, a lot of these male, poker stories are like, well, I went to college and then I dropped out my sophomore year. Well, my argument is, a girl is going to be like, my dad's worked very hard for this money.
Might be a little bit more sensible.
They're more sensible and relationship based.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like Mark is just like, he's like,
is a special.
Mark's like, I want to be the best poker player in the world. I can't have a girlfriend of that. He studied, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. That's just, I think there's difference between men and women. I'm agreeing with a lot of the things he's saying, but I think even if there was a female poker, champion, I don't think the numbers would really change very much.
Think so?
I don't think so. No, that's just my opinion.
They could double and make the field 10% instead of 5%.
I agree.
That would bring more
with
people.
you, and I sort of think that like maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion if it were like 65-35 or like 60-40 men to women, which is probably similar to how it is in some like male-dominated fields in terms of vocations. But just 95-5 like does not make sense. Even if there are like differences in women's priorities or sensibility like you described. So
right.
Yeah.
It's sort of anything we do. I mean, that women are 50% of the population.
My own little theory is that if an old guy won the WSOP, because they want some young, sexy person or famous person. But if you ever saw like a 70-year-old beast up there, just not taking shit from the young guys, just pushing them off hands, like get the baby boomers who actually have money, expendable income.
I think a lot of those guys already play, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
The
I don't know.
let's teach the kids a lesson type guy, the number one grandpa. He is probably already playing cards. He's probably buying into 1-2, shaking with his... I don't mean to be negative, but he's probably playing a little bit of poker in his spare time.
Mark's back. Did you do some Taibo? We know you're very serious about your fitness.
No, I was doing some Buddhist meditation.
Oh, really?
They made fun of us for the Buddhist book out there. I was trying to...
Oh, yeah, that's my modern Buddhism.
No, I just said there. I said I entered a different environment than I thought I'd see.
Yeah,
I was expecting to see
joints and empty beer can pyramids, and I saw a Buddhist book.
These
These
guys are a little more sophisticated.
These guys are serious.
A student of the Ben Reason's Namaste school, where we need to be taking a Zen approach to poker.
I'd like to meet Ben sometime. Is he coming out this summer?
He's here.
He's here right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll come by. I'll get on a podcast.
That would work. Cool. Quickly, we had this conversation last night just about like Poker Stars, whether it came back here. It's just like Mark's theory is that Poker Stars is that actually poker's good right now in the U.S. You can make like a steady income. Where Poker Stars, lower ROI, much greater variance because of the size of the fields and all that.
Well, I think U.S. sites were probably capped at $100K total profit from every site. I think $100K is a really good year.
Oh yeah,
for a U.S. MTT player. Right?
Sure.
And we were talking about this last night. We were wondering how many U.S. MTT players made six figures last year, and we were thinking probably a handful of guys.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the MTTers. I think some of the cash guys probably are probably raping Bovada at the 510.
I'm sure, but strictly MTT players. I think the thing that Mark might be failing to take into account with Stars coming back to the U.S. was that the U.S. is the largest loser in online poker. When the U.S. legalizes the game, the level of play on Stars, sure, ROIs might be higher on U.S. sites, but you have to consider that the Stars player pool will be flooded with all these unsophisticated U.S. players.
Well, we were talking last night was just Stars, to move to Canada and play on Stars right now. I think we will make a lot more money. I think 150, 200,000 is possible per year, MTTs, if Stars is back. Yeah. Especially in California.
I definitely agree.
California was already 30% of the market for online when it was around.
Really?
As far as the United States. California's
But just these players who are U.S. players, you guys have fallen so far behind. You don't understand how tough Poker Stars will be. I've watched enough training videos on TPE and shit. I'm there's still a lot of...
So Black Friday was April 15th?
Yeah.
I think when poker is legalized for Poker Stars and sites like that in the U.S., it'll be very regressive for the games, almost as if now it's April 16th, 2011.
Yeah.
Again.
Really?
And we'll be ahead of the curve,
pick up
too.
Right where we left off, because now we have hundreds of millions of U.S. poker players. Probably literally 100 million U.S. poker players, the majority, 99% of whom are going to be massive losers, flooding the network. So...
Yeah, your average Joe will be playing. Guy from a home game is going to be I can play legally now on Poker Stars, and I can play a $200 buy
your
to win
big
$1
dog
million.
pocket fives are going to be taking a drink, going all in, going to the bathroom, ordering chicken wings.
So paradoxically, it'll be the pros in Madrid who want to see U.S. poker legalized even more, even though us American grinders probably, yeah.
For sure, because all of the top American grinders are still finding a way onto Stars. I don't know how they possibly could do that, but
right.
Either moving or finding other methods to get on. So it's not like there are any extremely legendary strong players who are restricted from Stars. It's only the middling U.S. professional players who elect not to be on Stars, really, and the legends aren't that concerned about that.
And what you were saying, too, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about how a lot of people don't think U.S. players wouldn't fare well on Stars. I think that's absolutely false.
That's bull.
we adjust to the game we play, and we beat it.
We'll see what they're doing. If they're
We'll figure it out.
If we're
I'm not worried about it. Who knows if they can come to our site and beat? I mean, like
if they're 3-betting 15%, then I'm 4-betting. You just adjust to what
Pocket
they're doing.
Zero did a pretty good job.
Oh yeah,
the elite on stars though we will be behind, but the field in general will be fine.
I mean,
but
if you're
winning,
if you're winning at $100 buy-in at a steady clip on the U.S. sites, like it's really tough to imagine that you'll have trouble at a $50 average buy-in on stars.
I agree.
Maybe the 100. I mean, a major difference would be, as Mark and I were discussing, like now, like a 50k downswing's a possibility at the $100 buy-in on stars, rather than like the U.S. where we're talking about like a 10k, 15k.
Not even. Yeah,
it's probable to happen, and that's something we would have to adjust to mentally. But I mean, again, just time will tell. I mean, I don't think we're like literally 3-4 years away from stars, though. Like even coming back in. I mean, supposedly it's going through something right now, but even if it would still be like 1 or 2 years.
They keep saying that. I keep hearing people say that there's going to be a date in New Jersey, but then we just keep passing.
Well, the California bill doesn't have a bad actors clause, so if for some reason it passes, they would have the I mean, you wouldn't be playing people overseas. Mm-hmm. It would be PokerStars.ca or whatever kind of shit.
That's even better for us. Well, PokerStars.us, I think, keeps the euros out of my games.
Yeah.
So, Steve, how long have we been spitting here?
Let's see, we're at about almost an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Oh, I think it's time.
We should not. Is that a piece of lunch?
Well, thank you, Mark, for choosing podcasting rather than the flaming bag of shit, as I told you there. Oh, yes.
I love you guys.
And thank you for telling me to come out here to Vegas.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you heard it. Mike said thank you to me. Short dog.
Oh, yes. You like that, big dog and short dog?
Short dog.
And your scarf dog.
The funny thing is, a scarf dog. I hope if Big Dog probably doesn't listen to this, but I think he might start calling you Short Dog. I'm afraid. and if he comes in the house, he's like, Short Dog, end the podcast. I need to go ahead and get some mustard for the dog.
Big Dog should come down unlimited chicken wings.
We would have had, we had 2 buckets last night. If Big Dog were there, we would have had a lot more. I'd say like 4x. I mean, I love it.
You gotta know your bet sizing there, whatever it is there.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, it's fun.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on.
And hopefully, Steve was like, let's bring some beers over, just even though we're not drinking, just put some in the fridge. And I said, why don't we stop and get some champagne to celebrate when me or Pete get a 6-figure score here? But
yeah, right.
We didn't go to the liquor store because it was,
Pete King Fee Tarzowitz.
King Fee.
The legend.
So anyways, but we'll definitely, hopefully do another Vegas podcast next time you're in town, Steve.
Yeah, I'll be out here. Should be here for the TPE meetup, so that'll be cool.
Sweet.
That'll be cool.
TPE,
right on.
what's that?
Yeah, and thank you guys.
What is TPE?
Shut up.
Put links in the show notes for Tournament Poker Edge.
Baby.
Hit us up on Twitter at HeadsUpPoker.Podcast. You can email us headsuppokerpodcast@gmail.com.
You can just wait in the Las Vegas airfield when Steve just lands there looking for. It's not exactly the Beatles coming to America. It's just just your dad waiting.
And hit us up on Facebook. And thank you for tuning in. And here is your weekly motivational speech.
An idea. A thing from the human mind can build cities. An idea can transform the world and rewrite all the rules. A simple little idea that would change everything.
But this is only the beginning. This is not the end. And if you work through your pain, on the other side is a reward. And you're going to prove to everybody that tried to break you, everybody that tried to stop you, everybody that tried to kill your dreams, you're going to prove all of them wrong. You're bigger than your pain. You're better than that. I use your pain to push me to greatness. Don't give up. I'm telling you right now, don't give in. Get through it. When you change your mindset, one of the things I want you to do is I want you to embrace the challenge. This is the year to do something you've never done before. This is your year to think in a way you never thought before. This is your year to accomplish what you never accomplished before.